Hello today, my name is Luke Hinsley and I'm currently studying cyborg anthropology, which is a bit of a misnomer as it's not quite what you might be thinking it is. Donna Haraway, in her seminal work, A Cyborg Manifesto, describes a cyborg as a hybrid of machine and organism, a creature of social reality and of fiction. But cyborg anthropology is not about cyborgs, it is more about the interaction and co development of human society with the broad topic of technology. What I'm going to talk about today is the way in which technology, and in this case specifically mobile phones, have affected the human art of storytelling. The development of mobile phones has enabled human communication across time and distance to a degree never seen before, but it has developed far beyond merely telecommunications. Storytelling itself is conceptually a technology too, in that it encodes and transmits information in a way that can be received, decoded, and understood, much like how a phone works. Human storytelling has probably existed since shortly after we developed spoken language, and stories are told for entertainment, information, and even educational purposes. Stories can involve myths and metaphors, allegories and fables, religious gospels, and even just simple instructions. Storytelling allows us to make sense of the world around us, to form connections with others, and even learn how to survive our environment. Storytelling has evolved with technology. We've gone from spoken stories and cave paintings tens of thousands of years ago to the printing press, enabling widespread storytelling of books. Radio transformed the listening experience to be available to a much larger audience. Movies and televisions added video to the sound. And finally, the internet and mobile devices have changed how stories can be shared and the format in which they appear. With younger generations mostly consuming the internet through social media on their mobile phones, the content of storytelling has shifted to that medium. Movies and television are developed for screens in the horizontal landscape orientation, whereas mobile phones are produced in the vertical portrait orientation, which does not suit the landscape screens that older generations are more accustomed to, which potentially creates a rift between generations in the information they receive and the way in which the world is presented to them. Corson Jimenez and Nahum Claudel use the metaphor of traps as technologies of inhibition, an example of which is livestock in a pasture. They're essentially in a trap that keeps them contained while still leaving them free to move around. Mobile phones are used by social media much in the same way, except it is our attention they wish to entrap. What has been the outcome of this? The use of mobile phones has led to the shortening of our attention spans. We're manipulated with things like the notification ding, giving us a small dopamine hit, which distracts us from other focuses and keeps us coming back to the phone for more. A lot of content produced for these mobile social media apps is short form video storytelling, which much of which is monetized by advertising revenue, which has in turn affected human speech and behavior. Advertisers on these platforms do not want their products or services associated with offensive, controversial, or taboo topics. So the apps use algorithms to identify problematic words used and then demonetize or deprioritize the content. This has led to content creators developing algo speak, code words to get around the algorithms. Famously, unalive has become the term to discuss death or suicide while avoiding algorithmic censorship. When looking outside the realm of technology, we find the human impact. Literacy rates are declining as screen time is increasing. Gen Z parents are less likely to read to their children, with claims that it is boring or that they don't like reading themselves. Some say they can't get their kids to sit still for it, but they can be occupied for hours by a screen. It's not just literacy, there are multiple linguistic, cognitive, social, emotional, and neurological contributions being lost from the children's development as a result. The development and use of mobile phone technology has changed the nature, and in some instances, the existence of storytelling. Human culture and socialization have been dealt a devastating blow, the long term effects of which have yet to be seen. My name is Luke Hensley, and I thank you for your time.